Welcome to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt. Today we're cracking the seal and popping the cork. We're pouring and swirling and nosing and tasting and scoring a bottle I never thought I'd ever see on a shelf ever again. Long story short, I walk into a liquor store 2 days ago. This liquor store, been there before, but not in about a year or so. Previously in this liquor store, I've walked in and I've seen some strange things. For example, I purchased a bottle of Wild Turkey 101 that was like an old variety, like an old version just sitting on the shelf, something from like 2016 or 2015, something like that. And then later on down the road, I went back into that store and there was another Wild Turkey 101 sitting there from the same date, like from the same bottling. And I was like, are they just holding back stocks of older bourbon or what? Anyway, I told you this would be a short story, so let me get to the point. Get to the point, Porter, you sand dune looking son of a bitch. Walk into the store and I see this right away, which isn't the bottle I'm talking about, by the way, but I see this. The Russell's Reserve 13 sitting on the shelf, $179. I have one already that's open right here that I'm gonna be reviewing, but I saw this and I was like, how much is this? And they told me, and I was like, I'll take that. Turns out, everywhere I look in Colorado, they've got these on the shelf. This wasn't the only one on the shelf, they had another one. Then I walk into a different store in town. Again, Russell's 13 sitting on the shelf. Same price. So either I got lucky in my neck of the woods, or they're distributing a lot more bourbon nowadays. Maybe the friends of the distributors stopped collecting bourbon, and the bourbon is actually making its way to the store shelves now. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe we can all celebrate that! Sorry for yelling. Sorry for getting amped up. Continuing and hopefully wrapping up my super short story that I've been telling, I continue to browse the shelf after I pick up the Russell's 13 and I'm all scan, 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 friggin' scan, friggin' scan, scan, scan. You know how your eyes work along a shelf? Like you're speed reading through a Playboy magazine you weren't supposed to get your hands on. Anyway, sitting front and center in front of a bunch of other similar bottles was this bottle, and I was like, what is that? I did a double take, a triple take, I probably did a quad take, probably did a quadruple take, now that I think about it. And guess what I see sitting there, front and friggin' center? Wait, it gets better. Oh my God, Becky, look at that friggin' batch number, C917. This was the third release in 2017. This baby's 8 years old. Bottled in September 2017, 131 proof. This is the very first year that Elijah Craig transitioned from the pirate bottles, they call them, the rounder, pirate bottles, to these like more sleeky, slender, like big shouldered bottles like this. 12-year age statement, obviously. These old Elijah Craig barrel proof offerings from 2017 and 2018 were the bottles that made me fall in love with bourbon. So I bought this bottle and I got it for like 80 bucks. The only question was this, Matt, are you gonna bunker this baby and hold on to it for a later date? Or are you gonna crack this baby open to date? I would have to say that that is my most exciting whiskey find on a shelf in a very long time. Not only because it was something that I know I love and something that is hard to get, but something completely unexpected. Something completely, I was like almost shaking. I was so excited. I was like, seriously? Is this really happening right now? Is this happening to me? Later on that day, true story, I was on a local liquor store's app, the one that I ordered the original Russell's Reserve 13 from, and I thought that it was probably a mistake that it was even on their app. But I searched their app, every other day or so, but I was on their app and I saw something that really blew my mind. The same day I found the Elijah Craig, I found a friggin' Booker's Rye on this app, and it was $350. And I said, put it in cart, and I bought it. And I was like, if this happens, if this is actually something that they have in stock, then what in the hell is Colorado doing? Just sitting on stuff from 2016 and 2017 and just distributing it to liquor stores now? Or is it a mistake and they don't have it? I wasn't as lucky as I wanted to be. They called me and said, we don't have that. And I was like, That is a big brick in my pants. I took a dookie on the bookie. You can only get so lucky, that's what my wife says. Looking at the color of this Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch C917, that's right, 2017. Been sitting in that bottle for 8 years. Color on it, absolutely beautiful. Like I said, this is what made me fall in love with bourbon. Does it still hold up? Am I such a whiskey snob now that this C917 doesn't do it for me anymore? Only one way to find out. Ooh. Ooh. This is much peachier than I expected. It's like a friggin'. Wow, it's peachy. Got a weird older funkiness to it. Kind of like a little bit of a zip on the end. Kind of smells very earthy, like not mushroomy, which I don't like, but more like dirt. Like barrel-aged bourbon has been dripping out of barrels for years and years onto the same patch of dirt. Then it gets a bit breakfasty, pancakes and butter and peach syrup. I haven't owned a bottle of this in years, so I'm super pumped to try it. Batch C917, down the hatch. Wow. Wow. Oh, that was number one, a big sip. Number two, that is all of 131 proof. And three, grip me titties and hold on tight. Because that is one hell of a whiskey. It's almost like Huey Lewis and the News just brought me back in time. Back to when I first fell in love with bourbon. That is such a nostalgic pour. It is so full flavored and so like oaky and rich and thick and just like full flavored bourbon like extract. This is a phenomenal bourbon. Absolutely phenomenal. The Heaven Hill nuttiness that comes through so heavily on today's Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs is not even remotely evident in this. It's not even there. It's not peeking its head around the corner. It's not listening in on the other line. Second sip. That is one hell of an experience. Wow. That is big and strong and girthy. I am super pumped to have this bottle. Let me take one last sip and then give it a score. I never enjoy it when bias influences my score, and I'm well aware that it happens more often than I would like. So, I will give it a score today, but I will also pour an ounce of this into a sample bottle. I'll put it in my 1 ounce Wednesday box, and then eventually I'll pour Elijah Craig C917 blind, and I will score it blindly. Then I will compare the non-blind score to the blind score. I am confident in saying that, dare I go into the category of some of the best bourbon I've ever had? Yeah. Why do I do that? Because I think it is. And it is nostalgic. And when something hits the nostalgic button, whether it is the button in your brain, the button on your tongue, or the button in your pants, you just kind of have to listen to that and feel it and get excited about it. And that's what I'm doing right now. 9.1. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C917. A 9.1. Is it nostalgia speaking? Possibly. Is it my bias speaking? Maybe. Is it one hell of a friggin' bourbon whiskey? 100%. And I crave for the day that Heaven Hill re-releases Elijah Craig Barrel Proof in a brand new bottle design. A design that is so magnificent that we'll all look at it and go, wow. You know what? Never mind. Just bring back the pirate bottle. Elijah Craig should bring back the pirate bottle design. If they need to bump the price to $100 MSRP, cool. Whatever. Start putting the types of barrels into the new release Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs, the brand new pirate bottles that we used to put into the older Elijah Craig Barrel Proof offerings like this. They say the bourbon market is in the gutter. So I think that Heaven Hill should just step up their game and make Elijah Craig Barrel Proof great again. And then that's probably the 1,000th time I've said that, but I mean it. That's what makes bourbon hunting fun. Finding that on the shelf reinvigorates the bourbon hunter in me. That's gonna do it for this video. Russell's Reserve 13 review coming soon. Jack Daniel's Heritage Barrel review coming soon. Put in the comment section below which one of these do you want to see most. Which one of these do you want to see me review first? Also in the comment section below, if you are like most people, you can just tell me to go F myself because you can't find either one of these. I heard though that the Heritage Barrel is supposed to be easier to find. In what I've seen so far, it's this bad boy that I've been able to come across more often than not. Also, let me know in the comments any super cool finds that you found while bourbon hunting that are kind of similar to my story about the Elijah Craig C917. What have you found that you were least expecting to find on the shelf that you just came across and you were like, what on earth did I just stumble into? My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey. Like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on never giving up. That's right. You can find some cool stuff out there still. Don't give up on bourbon hunting altogether. Go into one of those stores once in a while and take a peek around, see if they got anything interesting. Maybe store owners are starting to put out weird shit that they've had in the back for several years. Maybe they're like, well, I thought I was gonna sit on this for 10 more years, but you know what, maybe I'll just put it out and sell it. Maybe liquor stores are seeing a dip in sales, so they're putting out things that they didn't plan on selling to make that money, son. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know what's happening. But if I find more of like stuff like that out there in the wild, and all the other sounds, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.